I want to share 5 foods that you can add to your diet right now to help calm inflammation, which is an overactivity of a natural part of your immune system. Okay, the first food is actually not one food. It's 4 different foods because they're all foods that contain vitamin C. So that's a whole category itself, vitamin C containing foods. What are some of the examples? Oranges, strawberries, broccoli, and cherry tomatoes. A study in Japan from the Miyagi Prefecture actually looked at 196 women who had autoimmune disease. It's a serious one called lupus, which is highly inflammatory, huge amounts of inflammation throughout the body. And what the researchers did is they actually wanted to figure out how much food they were eating that contained vitamin C, whether it's high levels or low levels, and what the correlation between vitamin C in their diet was with lupus flares. These are huge inflammatory flares. They're extremely uncomfortable. And here's what they found. They found that the women who ate the highest levels of vitamin C containing foods, all right, that again, we talked about this. These are citrus like oranges, strawberries, broccoli, cherry tomatoes as an example. That the women who had the highest levels of vitamin C containing foods had a 74% reduction in lupus flares. That's a huge difference. Now, how much vitamin C in the food was beneficial? Well, the dose that they calculated from this research study was 154 milligrams per day of vitamin C. All right, so what does that translate into in terms of the foods? Well, I'll tell you that's the amount of vitamin C that you would find in only 1/5 of a large orange. Probably 4 slices of that at large, or 1.5 cups of sliced strawberries, or 2 cups of raw broccoli, or 8 cups of uncooked cherry tomatoes. Now, if you gave me 8 cups of cherry tomatoes and you gave me a saucepan, I'd cook that down into less than 2 cups of tomato sauce. All right? That's not very much. Those are easy to attain levels of food. So how does vitamin C work? Well, in a lot of different ways, but one of the ways that vitamin C has been shown to work in the body is that it increases your body's special kind of immune cells called T-reg cells. These are T regulator cells. T-reg cells are special parts of your attack cells for your immune system against enemies. And T-regs actually turn down the attack cells, right? So this is the volume down switch in your immune system. And vitamin C turns that volume down, anti-inflammatory in the context of autoimmune disease. Really helpful to know the 5th food I'm going to tell you about is green tea. Green tea contains a catechin. All right, these are polyphenols that are called EGCG, epigallocatechin 3 gallate, EGCG. And you know what EGCG does from green tea? It also increases those Treg cells, the same cells that are the volume switch, who turn down the volume of your inflammation, turn down the volume of the immune system. Very helpful for autoimmune disease. And in fact, in the lab, researchers have shown that the catechin EGCG from green tea also reduces inflammatory markers in the blood. All right. And this also is critical for reducing autoimmune diseases. And you can measure it by looking at these inflammatory markers. In fact, a clinical study of green tea looked at 68 women who had lupus, right? This is this autoimmune disease packed with inflammation. And they showed is that drinking the equivalent of 5 cups of green tea a day cuts the lupus activity down by 50%. Now, you might say, how can I drink 5 cups of green tea a day? I can tell you it's really easy. If you actually fill up a mug without water and brew some green tea in it, like a tea bag or fresh, a whole leaf green tea, and you just sip on it every day when it gets low. You just fill up the water again. You will easily, over the course of a day, fill it up again 5 times. All right, people in Asia are drinking 10 cups of tea a day without thinking about it. So not too difficult to actually do. The other thing with this study of women with tea and lupus showed that the green tea drinkers also had a 30% improvement in their quality of life, which they measured in this study. Better quality of life, decreased inflammation, sipping on 5 cups of green tea a day. That is something that is pretty easy to achieve. Now, let me just tell you a little bit about green tea, because green tea is not the only tea that has EGCG, but there's a variation of green tea, which is matcha. Matcha is an amazing powdered form of green tea that you can get. If you go to the sushi bar and you ask for green tea, they'll often give you matcha. All right, it's a super green tea. It's so concentrated that, in fact, you can't see through it. And when you sip it, you're getting this nice grassy green tea flavor. Matcha isn't just a steeped green tea. Matcha is the entire leaf of the tea plant ground into a fine powder. So it's got many more polyphenols that are much more EGCG. So think about it. You have tea leaves that are picked from the tree, maybe put into a sachet, and you're steeping it. You're getting some of the EGCG out. Of course, if you have whole leaf green tea, you're just, the EGCG is just dissolving out from in a hot water into the tea that you're actually drinking. But guess what? You're still leaving some of the polyphenol, the EGCG, into the leaf. Different with matcha. With matcha, you're drying the leaf and powderizing the whole thing. So you get every bit of that EGCG when you're actually having matcha. The other thing that's an advantage of matcha tea is that you're getting all the dietary fiber that's found in the tea as well. When you steep a cup of tea with a tea bag or loose tea leaves, you're not eating the fiber that's in a leaf. But when you have matcha, you are drinking all that dietary fiber as well. Dietary fiber into your gut lowers inflammation, right? Because good gut microbiome, well-fed microbiome that gets to enjoy the tea that you're drinking, actually stimulates them, and what they do is they produce short-chain fatty acids, acetate, propionate, butyrate, and these short-chain fatty acids get released by the bacteria into your bloodstream, and that lowers inflammation as well. Now, what about beyond green tea? Turns out there are other teas that also have EGCG. Oolong tea, which is the kind you find in a Chinese restaurant, is kind of a slightly oxidized tea. Black tea, like English breakfast tea, Earl Grey tea, also contains EGCG. And even the super dark teas, pu'er tea, which is an ultra-fermented smoky tea, also contains some of this catechin as well. So you don't need to actually just stick with green tea. You can enjoy all kinds of tea. One pro tip about tea, you don't want to actually have microplastics with your tea. Okay, make sure that when you're actually dunking tea bags, that the bags aren't made with plastic. Some of the beautiful pyramid-shaped tea bags are actually made with, it's nylon, all right, like pantyhose. And when you actually dunk that kind of a bag in your cup of hot tea, the hot water actually dissolves off. Guess what? 1 billion plastic particles into your tea. Then you drink it. You don't want to be doing that, all right? So whole tea leaves, much better, all right? Or paper bags of your stevia or tea is also okay. Or matcha is just taking a powder itself, and that's good. Pu'er also usually break off a block, and you put it in there, and that's really great. There is actually powdered teas as well. I've actually had powdered teas, which is, tea that's been brewed, all the water's boiled off, they collect the powder on it, and now it's like super easy to dissolve. That's a very convenient way. No tea leaves, no tea bags, and you get all the polyphenols super concentrated in there. I would actually suggest trying that as well. So hope you got something out of this, and thanks for watching. Hi there. If you enjoyed watching this video, I know you'll love the next one. Stay here and check it out, and I'll see you there.